My name is Antonio.
My name is Brianna.
And we are the Levisons.
I'm trying to harmonize with me.
This is our podcast / TV show, live show, whatever you want to call it. TV show, yes. Yeah. Being Married with the Levisons. And today's episode, this is episode 3.
Yeah. Today's
episode, we're talking about communication in a relationship, communication in a marriage, communication and just period. Not only in just a relationship, but friendship sometimes. The bond between parents and children and coach and athlete. Just the communication on all sectors of life.
We're going to talk about what our failures with communications, but also what is helping us today to stay married. Communication has been like our biggest
Achilles heel.
I think that was like once we figured out how to communicate with each other, knowing what bothers him and what bothers me, like we're learning from each other, and we've been able to succeed.
I believe we beyond succeeded.
I think we mastered the communication now.
What's up, Ma? Once we learned the communication aspect of our relationship, our relationship went to the next level. Yeah. And my honest opinion is that communication is probably the most important aspect of any relationship. It's the most important aspect to marriage, to any type of friendship. Like if you don't know where you stand with the person because the person isn't communicating with you their frustrations, their angers, their happiness, then you are going to have a tough time being able to not only navigate in that relationship, but keep that person happy.
Right.
And that's what we're all trying to do. We're trying to achieve ultimate happiness. And in relationships, we're trying to achieve happiness for our significant other or somebody else that we're attached to in our relationship. So with us talking about communication is a lesson you learn. Hey grandma, what is a lesson you learn pre-learning how to communicate and post learning how to communicate?
Does it count that I knew we wasn't communicating? Like that's something that like the lesson.
You knew we was communicating, but what was the lesson that you learned? Okay, let's say pre-communication. What did you learn in that time when we were having trouble communicating with each other?
That you was getting on my damn nerves. That's what like. I mean, I don't know how to answer that question. The lessons that I was learning was that if I continued to communicate like this, then it was never going to be us. I knew that if we didn't figure it out, at the time we didn't know it was communication, but if we didn't figure it out, it was definitely not going to be us. I just knew like right then and there that, I mean, at the beginning I didn't think it would last if we could continue to communicate the way we did.
Or have lack of communication.
Yeah.
Well,
and then what I learned after was that I learned what ticks you off. Like, I learned that's very important for me because when I'm being petty and I really want to tick you off, I know exactly what to do and what to say. But also,
you some shit, boy. You some shit. I tell you.
But I also, by learning that, I know what buttons to press and what not to press, and what situations. So,
Well, a lesson I learned in communication, or in the areas of the time we were not communicating, was that the longer we held stuff in, the worse it was when it came out. So it could have been something minute, like it was like communication. Well, because we wasn't talking, Mom.
No, go. No, keep
but,
going too.
But it was like the smallest things, like turned into something that shouldn't have went to where it was. Like a lot of couples sit back and they let their assumptions of what they think their couple should know about them dictate their emotion or their feeling towards that certain
I like that.
That certain topic or whatever it is. You know, you can't.
That's how I felt. Like, sorry for cutting you off, but like at the
I
beginning
felt
of
the same way too.
At the beginning of our relationship, I was like, what the beginning of our marriage. At that time, we was like 2 years, maybe 3 years into our marriage. So that meant we was about 5-6 years together. Ain't no way you don't know me. Ain't no way you don't know I don't like it like that. So why I keep doing it? Or like that, yes.
When she says like it like that, she's not talking about sex, guys. She's talking about something else. Let's answer that question. What made you realize it was lack of communication? It was simple. It was simple. We had an argument one day, and the argument blew up to some hoes being in walls, some people leaving the house for hours on end, and it dawned on us that certain things we were saying to each other, we were saying because we never ever told each other that we didn't like each other saying that to each other. So, for example, I said something that pissed her off, but because she never told me that she didn't like that. What am I trying to say?
You was on the right
path. A perfect example. When we were younger, about 1 or 2 years married, I didn't like the fact that she used to call me a deadbeat. Even though she was playing, she used to say, "Oh, I used to do something wrong with Tony," and she'd be like, "Oh, you a deadbeat." I hated that, but I never said it. I never told her I hated the adjective deadbeat until one day we had a conversation. We was arguing, and boom, it just blew up. And she was like, "You ain't never tell me that." So I said, "I thought you should assume that I didn't like that." And that's where it started to snowball. And that's when that was kind of like one of the things that we learned, that talk. So now what do? We
definitely talk.
Now what do? If there's something going on, if we both are in the mood, or one of us is in the mood, we say talk. And then one of us say bye. If the person that's not talking or in the mood be like, I'm good, talk.
Yep.
Talk.
I don't care.
Talk.
I don't care if you're not in the mood.
Talk.
I really don't. My new thing is your energy is off.
Yeah.
Like, I'm feeling all the energy, like.
And you don't realize, yes, that's another good thing, man. That's another thing. You don't, sometimes with this lack of communication, you don't realize that you guys come from two different worlds. Sometimes when you get married, you know, somebody could come from a world of pain and struggle, and somebody else could come from a world of peaches and roses. And y'all come together as a union. The person that comes from the peaches and the roses, well, the one that comes from pain and struggle expects the person that comes from peaches and roses to know exactly how to respond in certain situations, to know exactly how to be, to comfort them. But they don't, because they've never felt that type of, you know what I'm saying, that struggle, that hurt, that pain. But that's something that you have to communicate.
It's also a difference between understanding someone's struggle and communication. It's a difference between understanding and also like having sympathy for them. Like, I can have sympathy for you and just say like, "Oh, I'm sorry that you feel that way," but until you actually able to understand what they're going through, and you have to like communicate, like, okay, I don't, and it's okay to say I don't understand how you're feeling.
It is a lot of times, a lot of people are scared to say that to their spouse. They're scared to say that they don't understand.
Not me. I'm like, you explain. You gotta explain. Yeah, explain to me. What?
Another reason why couples have lack of communication is because maybe one partner is afraid of
Hurting the other one's
feelings, or afraid to get some type of afraid of the response the other person will give. So, for example, like you and your spouse is having a disagreement on maybe finances. Say finances, and every time some financial stuff comes through, it's always something that one thing sparks up an argument. It could be saving, it could be spending, it could be giving your tithes, it could be not paying your taxes if you have a business or something like that. But what that one thing sparks, now the person that it annoys may be afraid to tell that person, like, listen, you got to spend your money different. That lack of communication, of them not being afraid of the response that they may get, that frustration and anger lingers, and it lingers, and it lingers, and then one day it blows up like a volcano, and it turns into something that it should not be. That's all you got? You ain't got nothing else after that?
No. So, tell me about a time where a bad time, like, you tell me about a bad time that communication, like, drastically failed for us, and then tell me about a good time where communication definitely worked for us.
You go, because I feel like you got one on the tip of your tongue. I'm trying to think.
I felt, okay, we can talk about, our lives. So I think something that drastically failed for us was even last year when we was communicating and talking about school.
Oh shit. Man.
Yeah, school.
Yeah.
School. Everybody, if you know me, you know that I love school.
And if you know me, you know I
he hates school.
I can't stand school.
But communicating with Tony and expressing my reasons why I want him to go to school. 1, it's free for him. 2, he gets paid to go to school. 3, it's an extra income. 4,
you can't say get paid an extra income.
No.
That's the same thing.
No,
same thing. It's the same reason.
No,
you just trying to boost your reasons.
4,
you can't do that.
He's getting a degree in something that he does, like his specialty. Why not educate yourself more? Why not build that resume? Like, that right now I can't go to school because I work so much, like, and I'm killing myself just how much I work. I would rather be in school, so why not do it for me? So I was communicating that, and at the time, all Tony heard was how I felt. And he had he hates school so much that he threw everything about that communication right out the window.
What was your good?
My good, you ready for this?
Yeah.
I communicated at the very beginning of our relationship. I said, when we get married, I don't care what type of ring I get. I don't care. But at my 10 years of marriage, I want a big ring. I want something ignorant. I'm not even a flashy type of person. Oh, but for my 10 years, I've been in Levison for 10 years. Oh, if anybody, y'all know, Levisons, they crazy. They crazy.
They challenged. Those Levisons is challenged.
You.
Oh,
So I wanted, that's something I always communicated at the very beginning. And then on our anniversary, went to K's. Got me a ring. Got me a big ignorant ring.
Time to rob the bank. I've been trying to rob the bank for some years.
Your turn. What's your good and what's your bad? Your bad and what's your good?
I think a time we communicated that was good. I think that the one of the best times of communication that we had was when we actually sat down and talked about finances. But 2 years ago, we had never had a full-fledged conversation about finances. We was always getting money, spending money, getting money, spending money. But we
felt like paying bills. We good. As long as we pay bills, we don't have to talk about nothing else.
And we was going week to week, month to month, year to year, every year, waiting on income tax checks. We was literally living our lives based on when we get our income tax checks on a yearly basis for about 7 years. And then we had to sit down and really have a good conversation, because we never had a conversation about finances. We just assumed that each other knew the proper way to take care of finances. But when we finally had the conversation about finances and we looked each other in the eye and said, we are doing this wrong. We're doing this wrong. Our mindset shifted about our finances. We figured out that what we were doing, we were working backwards. Now we're able to work the proper way and put ourselves and our family in position to one day have everything that we want, because we had that conversation. After we had the conversation, we looked at ways for us to build a brand. That's why we started this podcast. We looked at ways for us to get ourselves a product. In the coming months, you're going to see a wine label that's sponsored by the Levisons, because we're looking for product. We found other ways to invest. So I got into the trading circuit, and she's learning how to trade also. We're looking at different avenues to grow our finances, and we also said that we weren't going to spend frivolous money. We wasn't going to be in unnecessary debt. When I say unnecessary debt, I mean credit card debt, getting TVs from Rent-A-Center. That's unnecessary debt. So when we had that conversation about money, I think that was probably one of the best communication times that we've had. A bad communication time, man, I'm trying to think, because our relationship is so perfect.
Yeah, okay. Okay.
I'm gonna give you one that was probably the most pettiest non-communication point we had. One day, Tony was about 3 or 4 months, and we were living in our first house that we ever lived in together on a lease in Virginia. And I had just went upstairs in our room to watch TV. She was watching TV in the living room, and we hadn't talked all day, and we wasn't talking. And somehow, some way, we thought we were mad at each other because we weren't talking, but we were just in the separate rooms. The reason why we were acting this way is because we never go a day without having full conversation, and we've never been like separate rooms from each other. So with us not communicating, saying, oh, I'm not mad, I just want to watch this in this room, and I want to watch this in this room, that turned into an argument about
everything.
It turned into an argument about everything, and then it turned into an argument about Tony, and then it turned into an argument about a bunch of weird stuff. Just because one was in one room,
nope,
the
other
other
came
was
in the house and said something.
That was a Sunday, babe. That happened on a Sunday.
I thought you was gone.
No, that was on a Sunday. Because remember, I was
your fault.
Of course it was my fault.
It was your fault.
Of course it was my fault. What advice could you give couples struggling with communication? Like, if a couple right now is having communication issues and it's bleeding over into other things, because
some advice I would give. The advice I would give would be to say what's on your heart and make sure you approach it in a correct tone, and make sure you think through the verbiage.
That tone thing is huge.
And the verbiage. You have to
It's huge.
You have to know how to go to your spouse and actually let's sit down, let's talk. But before you go, don't go when you pissed. Give yourself time to, but also you have to know about timing. So you mad now, don't go to sleep mad.
Oh, you like how you know I was about to say that?
I don't know. Don't go to sleep mad. Like, if it's 8 o'clock, you ain't going to bed, sis or sir. Sit down, get your thoughts together, and then you go to your spouse like, all right, we need to talk. I ain't like the way you just did that or whatever you said, but don't go cussing. Don't go cursing and, just want to fight and stuff like that. You have to have the right verbiage and the right tone.
That's
my advice.
You know what I would say? I would say, don't let a fight last longer than the fight. Don't let an argument last longer than the argument. If you argued over here, don't let the argument last to all the way over here. You don't want to do. Don't let an argument last past the argument. You don't want to do that. That is really, really key. When you argue as a couple, you're going to argue. Any couple that says that don't argue is 100% full of shit. You're going...
Or they're really not a couple.
They're full of shit. You're going to argue. When you cohabitate with someone else every day, all day, you're going to argue. But you have to really, really sit down and have a conversation about how you're going to approach the argument. Maybe one day when y'all just good, having a great day, you talk about arguments. Be like, all right, listen, babe, how about this? Next time we have an argument, why don't we talk to each other like this? Set out guidelines, because it's inevitable. It's inevitable. You're going to argue. So a good thing to do, we did this. This is not, I'm not just spitting stuff out the air. We did this. One day we were just having a conversation and she said, I don't like it when you talk to me in this way when we having a conversation. And I said, that's just my, I have a loud voice. That's just my voice. And she said, no, you talk, your tone is not how loud your voice is. It's your tone and how you say things when you're upset. And we had that conversation and we talked to each other in a calm way. And we laid out guidelines like, in the event of an argument or a misunderstanding, now you know how to approach me.
Right.
Now you know how to approach. Now you know how to talk to me in that certain tone. Now, if you don't approach me this way,
that means it's disrespectful.
It's going to go the conversation is going to go another way. It's going to go another way. You can alleviate so much in your relationship with constant communication. Sometimes people tell us we talk too much. We wake up in the morning. I leave the house at around 5:30, 5 o'clock every morning. Pretty much go to the gym. Then I got clients in the morning. We're texting from 5:30 in the morning till she gets home. And if we're at home and in two separate rooms, we're texting. We're constantly talking, communicating. Why? Because we've talked so much verbally. Now we've talked so much via text. I know when she texts little certain things, I know she's having a bad day, or I know she's not feeling something. If she doesn't say okay and sends back the letter K, she's upset about something. Or if she spells okay, O-K-A-Y, she's mad at me and she's being petty. That's because we talk about everything. We have open conversation, open communication all the time. That's how you learn your spouse. Communication. You can't learn your spouse if you're not talking.
And guess what? When we're talking about communication, you have to be okay to disagree. You have to, every argument does not have to have a winner. That's not what an argument is about. If you're looking for a win,
that's tough. I'm a work in progress with the losing arguments, and the not being right.
It's okay to disagree.
To not be right.
Yeah, you and your spouse, when it comes to communication, it's okay to have two different opinions. That's okay. that's how you think? Like, in my mind, when he used to say something like, is that how you really think? Like, you really each other's best friends.
Yep.
Yep, that's that. Like,
Yep.
we have grown.
Yep.
So much. Like,
Yep.
This
is my 1000%. This is my rollie. This is my ace. This is my back. This is my front. My left. My right. This is
This is my spine.
That's the back.
Nope. You could have been talking about your lower back. You my whole spine.
Oh my God.
I'm winning. I'm winning.
You're my heart and my soul.
You my brain.
There ain't nothing without a soul.
Yes, he is definitely my best friend. So I had a girls' weekend this weekend, and I think I talked to my husband
80% of the time he was gone.
But it's because he's part of the clique. Like, he's a part of the girls.
That's the thing. She's a part of the guys, and I'm a part of the girls.
This is definitely true.
We don't go honestly, 9 times out of 10, we don't go anywhere without each other. And when we do, we're on FaceTime, so technically we're not anywhere without each other. Like, yes, to answer your question, yes, we are definitely each other's best friend. Like, I lean on her like I don't lean on anybody else.
He my therapist. I'm
her mechanic.
Oh, you definitely my mechanic.
Yeah,
he takes such a good care of my car, you guys. It's so exciting to see him just fix it.
When did y'all start
communicating your expectations for each other?
Oh, that might have been recently.
I think since we moved to Maryland.
That ain't recently. That was 5 years ago. 6 years ago.
Almost 6. I think.
Oh, that's a good one, Jermaine.
So it has been within the last 4 to 5 years.
That's big. That's huge. That's a good one, man. That's huge. Yeah,
Yeah, I think. Yeah, I want to say probably in the last 2 years more so, because I think maybe when you got the military. I think when you got the military, our relationship changed drastically.
Because that was honestly, when I got the military, that was honestly the first time that I had to lean on you.
Yeah.
And I had to throw my pride out when I got the military. When I got the military, I didn't jump to stardom like I thought I would.
He definitely has no filter.
I don't need a filter. Filters are stupid. I didn't jump to stardom like I thought I would. And when I got the military for a while, I was in a very bad mental place. Despite what you see on social media, I was in a very bad mental place. And I had to learn to throw all the pride that I had inside of me and really let her take the reins for a while and lean on her until I was able to catch up, to catch my aspirations up with reality.
And he didn't want to listen to me.
Yeah, I didn't.
He didn't listen to me.
But when we communicated, I think it was about 2 years ago when we communicated our expectations, and honestly, that kind of made us stronger.
Yeah,
it really did, because once we told each other what we expected from each other and what
not the assumptions.
Like, when we really sat down and said, "This is what I need from you." On a daily, on a weekly, on a monthly, on a yearly. Yeah. This is what I need from you.
And we visit that conversation a lot too.
Yeah.
Still.
But now that we know exactly what we need from each other, you know what we do? We try to supersede that need on a daily basis. So if she wants me to clean the blinds every 2 weeks, I clean the blinds every Wednesday. Just to make sure the blinds is clean so she don't gotta say it. If she wants if she wants gas in her car, she don't want her gas to be under half a tank, I put gas in her car when it's at 3/4. Yeah, you do that. Yeah.
I was so happy to see it full today.
That's actually a real expectation, guys. It's not half tank, it's a quarter tank. She doesn't like her gas to get under a quarter tank. So when it hits a quarter tank, I have to go fill it up. So I don't let it. I usually don't let it
say
get
it like that. Like I will go to the gas station too and fill it up.
You did that last week, the first time.
And I did it a few months ago.
Laid out our expectations for each other. It made us a stronger couple because now we know exactly what to do to get each other happy.
And to what is going to piss you off. So like, okay, so we said expectations at the beginning of our relationship, but they were like childish, typical, don't cheat on me, don't be talking like that. So the expectations that we're talking about now is like the full detail. Like, okay, I expect you, if you're working from home, that I come home and the house is clean, or the meat is out. If the meat is out and it needs to be cooked, like expectations. Oh, if you're getting out the military, you are going to be taking the kids to school. So, or the expectation is, since the kids are at home.
We don't look alike, Mom. Stop it.
Since the kids are at home and is doing e-learning, I need you to make sure that all their schoolwork is done. So when COVID happened, I was working from home. So the expectation was that Tony was still doing his clients and I was the one doing the homework, making sure the kids' schools were like completely good. But now that I'm back in the office and he's home, so that's the expectation. So we continue to have those open communication about that,
and honestly, our expectations it doesn't even stop at the marriage level.
Yeah,
we have expectations for each other that far exceeds our marriage. You know, we want each other to our professional life, our careers. We have expectations for each other as far as our careers. We have expectations for each other as far as our health. We have expectations for each other as far as our daily appearance. Like it's we really boiled it down. How we take care of our kids.
Yeah. Disciplining our kids.
Discipline, well, we discipline the same.
I mean, but but we've been around, we've had other couples that we really adore and that we're really close to, that everybody doesn't parent the way we parent. We took that into consideration, and we communicated the expectation, like, even though we go over such and such house, we are still disciplining our kids this way. We're not going along with what they do.
If you are a small business owner, please inbox us. Email us at thelevissons10@gmail.com. Send us a message to our inbox, or you can text our personal messages. If you guys have our numbers, if you have a small business, please don't send us products. Let us buy them from you. Let us support you so that we can help others support you also. Thank y'all for the support. We're going back to Friday evenings this Friday. I'm going to be creating events from here on out from our Facebook page, and I'm going to be inviting everybody. This episode of April, we will have our first guest, so don't miss it. Don't miss none of our episodes. We're going to start having promo codes. We're going to start having things that you want to watch to the end of the episodes for. Yeah, so stay tuned, support us, follow us, and
bye.
That's it. Bye. We are the Levisons, and see y'all next time.